Hey Vinyl community, I'm going to be talking about my CD box set collection today. Now, it seems box sets anymore, for the most part, are pretty obsolete, unless you're a band like the Beatles or maybe the Rolling Stones and you're doing a remaster or a remix or a 50th anniversary or some kind of commemoration for a particular album or a particular era of a band. You don't see that much anymore, but back in the 90s, CD box sets were just really huge. And when everybody was buying CDs and it seemed like vinyl was going by the wayside, just about any artist that was popular seemed to put out a CD box set. And one of the ways to get a bulk of a band's catalog without having to buy every single album or every single CD was to get their box set. And sometimes they would include bonus tracks, unreleased tracks, B-sides, outtakes, just to entice you to make that investment in a box set. But I am going to cover what CD box sets I still have in my collection. Now, when box sets came out, they were in a giant box like this, and they were the size of a record album, a 12-inch record album. This was one of the very first hugely popular CD box sets, and I think once other bands and artists saw how popular a CD box set and how much money could be made off a CD box set, they started to come out with their own. But this is Led Zeppelin's box set, and it's a 4-disc set. These songs were not in any true chronological order. However, most of the band's first 2 albums, Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 2, were on the first disc. Then you've got mostly Led Zeppelin 2, 3, 4 on disc 2, and then 4, Houses of the Holy, Physical Graffiti on disc 3. So there's some chronology here, but it doesn't stick to a strictly chronological track listing. There are a few bonus tracks on here. There's the B-side, Hey Hey What Can I Do? There was the previously unreleased BBC recording of White Summer, Black Mountainside. There was a hybrid of Bonzo's Montreux from the Coda album and Moby Dick, which was from Led Zeppelin 2. And then also the BBC track Traveling Riverside Blues, which really, for the most part, sounded like a studio album, and I remember that being released as a single off of here, which is pretty incredible. So this is pretty much the template for what future box sets would look like. You would get a booklet, which would have liner notes, talk about the band's history, photographs, maybe an extensive track listing. And it was really cool. This was, for most bands and most box sets, a pretty decent way to learn about their history, about the rest of their catalog, and some other things you might not have known. In this Led Zeppelin box set, you got also this, which is not really a poster. It's just some extra photographs, which folds out like so. And then the discs were housed in this container. So that was Led Zeppelin's, and that was the first of, well, there was Led Zeppelin's original box set, and then they came out with a condensed version, but that was more in a clamshell, and it only had 2 discs, and it contained all the tracks that were not on the original box set. So the next box set I'll show is, this is Eric Clapton's Crossroads. I just picked this up actually the other day, but this is one of the earliest box sets also. And this covers all the parts of Eric Clapton's career: the Yardbirds, John Mayall, Cream, Blind Faith, Delaney and Bonnie, Derek and the Dominoes. People forget that Eric Clapton was really a journeyman in the early days. He was with so many bands, and only for a short period of time. I mean, he'd record an album, 2 if you were lucky, like Cream, 3 or 4, and then he was on to the next project. And this is a great way to collect all of the different phases of his career up to the early 90s. And this is the booklet that comes with. And you get photographs, like I say, essay about his career. And then some track listing. And this also comes, it's a songwriters and publishers index. I don't know, this is basically who wrote most of the tracks that Eric didn't write himself. And then these are really hard to get out of here. I mean, I almost had to pry. I was afraid the jewel case was going to break when I'm prying these out of here, because it's almost like they're glued in here. They're not easy to get out. I don't know if that's because of age or what, but most box sets, they're not that hard to pry the CD out of there. This is the Monkees box set, Listen to the Band. And this is in strict chronological order. There's really a treasure trove of bonus stuff on here, because the Monkees recorded a lot more material than they actually put on their albums. And so all those leftover tracks you get on here, you get some singles, some B-sides, stuff that wasn't on their studio albums proper. And then when you open this one up, book's a little smaller than the standard size box set booklet, but pictures are great. A lot of these pictures I hadn't seen before. And then this one comes with a gigantic poster. Well, I wouldn't say gigantic, I guess, but still a pretty decent sized poster. I don't know many box sets that gave away a poster, but that was nice to have. And then these are the CDs themselves. And the last one that I have that fits this 12-inch format is Afterglow, which was Electric Light Orchestra's first box set. They've since come out with a second one. And this is a 3-disc one. They could have put out a 4-disc. I'm not sure why they did not. I don't know if they felt ELO fans wouldn't shell out for the price of a 4-disc box set, but this has got some bonus material. It's just very brief. There's the basic hits that you would expect on here, and there's some alternate tracks that were previously not released. I really, the album Secret Messages was originally intended to be a double album. I would have loved to have seen more of those tracks on here, but anyway, this is what you got. And again, photographs, essays, and credits. And then that's what the discs look like. So after the 12-inch box sort of went out of fashion, or they stopped, for whatever reason, a decision was made. I don't know if it was environmental concerns or whatever, but the decision was made by record companies to stop issuing these gigantic 12-inch boxes for their box sets, and they started slimming them down into a more rectangular version. Still 4 discs. This is actually a 5-disc one. There's 4 jewel cases in here, and then there's a version that comes in a paper or a cardboard sleeve. This was the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations, and this is a great career overview. You've got B-sides, alternate tracks, outtakes, some a cappella versions, some instrumental only versions. You've got the Smile studio tracks, most of which had never been released before. So it really was a great investment for Beach Boys fans back in the day, and it still is. If you're interested in the Beach Boys and you want to get some of that great material on CD. And so now the booklets are more rectangular in shape, a little more awkward to kind of go through. It almost looks like a pamphlet. but still the same material. I really would have loved to have this to be in a 12-inch box set, but I'll take it like this. And one of the things about this is that the spine here is, some of the pages I can tell are going to start falling out of here. That's why I don't open this booklet very much. So I wish that had been a little better put together, but, and then each of the CDs are kind of stacked in here. This was the sleeve with some additional sessions. And then the other discs there. And you can find these, I mean, pretty reasonably priced, I think, on eBay. This is the other Beach Boys box set that was in this rectangular shape packaging. This is the Pet Sound Sessions. And this one's interesting. It's got the same shape, rectangular shape booklet, but instead of having the 4 or 5 CDs stacked up in here, this comes in a fat box. So you've got the 4 CDs in here. Well, 3 CDs. So you've got 3 of the CDs in here. And then you've got the, this is the mono version of Pet Sounds on its own special cardboard sleeve. And then a tiny little booklet here. I mean, this is a thick booklet, though, that you get. So the next one that I have to show is, this is the Doors box set. And this is 4 discs. Now this has, a majority of this is all unreleased material. There's 3 discs of, first disc is all either unreleased live recordings or studio outtakes or rare B-sides. And then the second disc is live in New York City concert from the Morrison Hotel era. And then the 4th disc is the band's, it's a compilation of the band's favorite. So it's a collection of songs that each of the surviving Doors members handpicked. I would have liked to have seen more outtakes or more live material. I could really care. I mean, it's interesting to know what the band's favorite tracks were, but you could have put that in the booklet. You didn't need to make a whole CD out of that. It really felt like they were unnecessarily padding it out when they could have really put more unreleased material on that 4th disc, but still a good thing to have. There's a lot of interviews with surviving Doors members, which makes up a lot of this book. And there's also an essay, and it discusses each of the tracks. So this is housed like this. And then these are the other 2 CDs that you get. And then the last one that I have to show is The Who. And this is 30 years of maximum R&B. I think by now it's probably closer to 60 years of maximum R&B if they were to release this in the next year or 2. And this is a 4-disc set. Really conforms to the other box set formats that I showed you of this size. This is a thicker book than any of the other ones that I showed you. So you've got a lot of detailed track information, album info. It's like a timeline, a chronology of The Who's career. You've got all the photographs, some interesting memorabilia and press clippings and whatnot, and essays. So really a great investment. This has got a lot of unreleased material, some interview excerpts. It's got B-sides, singles, album tracks. It's really the best of what a box set could be because it's so comprehensive. It's got stuff for collectors. It's got stuff for the fans who want to dig deeper into the band's catalog. And it's got some great live stuff and some interview excerpts. It flows chronologically. So they really did an excellent job on here. And this is one of the best box sets that I own and that I'm aware of. So that is my vintage CD box set collection. Interested in what CD box sets you may still have or what some of your favorites were? As always, thanks for watching.